Hi guys, I'm going to talk to you briefly about systems theory. Just a little video here to maybe try and help you understand it a bit better. So back in the 1960s, there was an approach to management which appeared called systems theory, and it was all trying to unify all the prior schools of thought that we'd looked at in class. It was known as the systems approach. And some of the features included identifying the overall goals of an organization. What's the organization all about? What does it want to do, and how is it going to achieve that? So it's viewed an organization as a load of kind of different units working together for the overall goal. If you can imagine them as subsystems, you might have in a hotel, you could have the kitchen, the reception, the spa, the functions, the housekeeping or accommodation, all working together for the overall goal of the organization, which in a hotel's case is profit. If you're in a factory setting, it could be that you have procurement, you could have manufacturing, you could have packaging, you could have logistics, you could have R&D, all these different things. And they, again, would all work together for the organization to make a profit. If you're working in healthcare, it might be housekeeping, it might be the aides, the nurses' aides, it could be the nurses, the doctors, the caterers, the porters, all working together in systems again to make the whole thing work. So people who spoke about systems theory, they viewed an organization as kind of an open system with all these things working together for a common goal. Now, they also said, okay, in a system, like any system, there's input and output. So if you're taking the example of a hospital, you'll have the input of patients, you'll have the input of energy, you'll have the input of knowledge, you'll have all these kinds of input from suppliers. You'll have all those kinds of things to take into consideration as well. And every single element needs to be managed, whether it be personnel, resources, patient numbers, etc., accounting, accounts payable, all that kind of stuff. That all needs to be working and working well, each unit, and then as a whole coming together to make something work. Okay? If you're talking about a hotel, you're talking about all your suppliers coming in, your energy coming in, even your customers coming in. So they're all feeding into the system. Now, whether they're going to the spa and being processed and then charged and out the other end, or if it's food coming in and it's been prepared and it's been sold on for a profit, all those single units need to work together as a whole and complement each other so that the organization as a whole does really well. Some of the features of system theory, and certainly if I was doing an assignment about a supermarket and Sarah and how she was going to get the place to work, I would think to myself, well, a good knowledge of system theory is essential because Sarah has lots of customers coming in who need to be processed or need to be looked after, their money taken off them and sent on their way. They need to be supplied with goods. The supermarket needs to have good suppliers at the right price. The supermarket needs to have all their different units, whether it be a deli or a butcher's or an off license or whatever it is, working and making a profit and doing well and been properly staffed and resourced so that the overall supermarket does what it wants to do, which is make a profit. So systems theory is all about a system consisting of all these different elements, all these different units. They're arranged in a manner that produces an overall good effect, which is profitability. They need to be all studied how they work with each other. Is there overlapping? Is there one unit or one subsystem that isn't working or it's hindering another? You also need to look at what's internal, what's external, what you have, I suppose, more control over. Do you have more control over the stuff coming in or the stuff going out or what's actually in your business? But the essential fact is that with systems theory, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. Okay, it receives information, material, energy, all these other things from outside. If you're an accountant, you're getting in figures, you're getting in people's invoices, you're getting in people's statements, etc. You're processing that and you might be sending it off to revenue, you might be sending it back to the customer, whatever you're doing. So again, you're part of a system and you're getting all this input through. Even an accounting firm, I suppose, can have subunits where you'll have people who are working on commercial contracts. You can have personal law, or personal tax. You have all these different subsystems within that. And then you'll have office managers, you'll have people who go searching for clients, etc., etc. and they all have to work together to ensure the entire company works well. When you talk about the systems theory, you say that attention is paid towards the overall effectiveness of the system, rather than just effectiveness of certain systems. So if Sarah owns a supermarket, she needs to ensure that all the parts, all the moving parts, the tills, the off license, everything are working together, and that they're complementing each other so that the business is successful. Okay. Finally, it was kind of thought up by Chester Bernard, okay, back in the 1960s. And he said that if you fail in this type of management system, it can be because certain departments don't talk to each other. So it could be a case that if you're working in production or manufacturing in a factory, R&D don't tell you that there's a new trial or a new run going on to the conveyor belts. It could be that you don't have enough materials in, enough packaging in to package what you're producing. If you're working in the hospital, if there's a breakdown between outpatients and admissions and the wards upstairs, there's either going to be too many people in wards, not enough people in wards, but there's going to be a bad use of resources. So again, the systems theory is all about, in a nutshell, managing the whole organization, but not at the detriment of managing each individual part of it. So that's why we have this whole system of managers, sub-managers, team leaders, line managers, operatives, etc. So that the kind of middle management can ensure that all the units are working well, and then top management ensure that all the different units are complemented to each other for the good of the organization. So I hope this is helpful. It might save you sitting through and trying to read through 20 or 30 slides. Again, if you need any help, let me know. Okay.